The exam mess spiraling out of control. In fact, the latest that we're getting is that the NEET postgraduate examination has also been cancelled. In fact, it has been postponed rather. It was to be held tomorrow. Remember, this examination is meant for MBBS students taking the exam. And of course, all the mess around the NEET-UG and now the NEET-PG examination has also been postponed. In fact, what the government says is that this has been postponed as a precautionary step, given the fact that there were all these allegations of irregularities. In fact, the government says in its statement that the Ministry of Health has decided to undertake a thorough assessment of the robustness of the processes of the NEET-PG entrance examination. This, of course, as the investigation around the NEET-UG paper leak continues, and now the NEET-PG examination has been postponed. This, of course, comes minutes after the National Testing Agency chief was sacked by the government. In fact, he's been replaced with an interim chief. My colleague Vasudha, in fact, I'm being told, is on the phone line with us. So, Vasudha, yet another key examination postponed. The government, in a sense, conceding, saying that, the integrity of these examinations is in question, which is why, as a preemptive measure or perhaps as a precautionary measure, the government has decided to postpone this examination meant for MBBS students. The NEET-PG is a very crucial examination and perhaps considered one of the toughest competitive exams.
Absolutely, Vedant. And to just give you some context, there are around 228 students who take this examination. It was supposed to be held tomorrow, which is 23rd of June, across 278 centers in the country. And the ministry has, in fact, issued a statement saying that this decision to postpone this examination has been taken in the best interest of students and to also maintain the sanctity of the examination process. We've seen not just, this controversy around NEET, but also UGC-NET examination being postponed, the results of CSIR NET exams getting delayed. So clearly, this comes in the series of several developments happening in the education sector and the government also facing slack for it. But of course, the NTA chairperson has been sacked right now. A high-level committee has been put in place. But with regard to the PG examination of NEET, this is not conducted by the NTA. In fact, it is conducted by the National Board of Examination, which falls under medical examinations, which falls under the Health Ministry, not the Education Ministry. And in fact, if you look at the statement, the ministry clearly says that they have looked at all incidents of allegations regarding the integrity of competitive examinations, and this is to facilitate a thorough assessment of the processes that go through that are put in place, when an exam like this takes place, and that is why this is a precautionary measure. And of course, the ministry also says the fresh date of this examination will be notified at the earliest. This is in line with what the government has been saying with regard to not delaying the counselling process. Remember, it has to begin in the first week of July for the admission process to be in order. Of course, this is the latest from the Health Ministry, comes within hours of the NTA's chief being sacked by the government.
And also, Vasudha, this announcement coming really at the 11th hour, given the fact that the exam was supposed to be held tomorrow. This is a crucial medical examination. As you're pointing out, lakhs of medical graduates, in fact, medicine graduates were supposed to appear for this examination. There were over 300 cities where this exam was supposed to be held. So perhaps the protests are only going to intensify now, the anger over the entire exam system, given the fact that, hours ahead of the examination, a postponement announcement comes.
Of course, and these are, remember, this is the PG examination, Vedant, and we've seen voices that spoke during the cancellation of the UGC-NET examination, where they said that, these are students in their late 20s, sometimes also early 30s, and, these are also students who don't want to be dependent on their households and families forever. So there is a different kind of disappointment, and, these are also protesters who, feel that there is a lack of jobs, and then the exams also keep getting postponed. So clearly there is going to be a lot of disappointment, and with regard to tomorrow's examination, several leaders of different political parties, including Shashi Tharoor of the Congress, had said that this exam also needs to be postponed, but he had asked for the postponement for a very different reason, which was the heat wave, because a lot of students are also from Kerala, and certain parts of the country are reeling under this heat wave. So several leaders had basically asked for postponement, but of course this comes just, the students would have just gone to sleep, probably, getting ready for their exams tomorrow morning, and this announcement has just come right now.
Right, Vasudha, thanks very much for joining us with that. In fact, we should clarify it yet again and put it out there for all the candidates who were supposed to appear for this examination tomorrow, that the government has now notified that this examination, the NEET postgraduate examination, the NEET-PG examination, has been postponed. Of course, admit cards, etc., were also, allotted, handed out by the government to students. Centers were allotted as well. And now, just hours before the examination, the government has decided to postpone, in fact, the NEET-PG examination. Maria Shakil is also now live with us. So, Maria, you broke that story for us, that the NTA chief has been sacked, an unprecedented move truly by the government. And now the government has decided to postpone the NEET-PG examination as well. So, the government clearly very seriously looking at all the discrepancies and irregularities that have come to light and taking the entire matter extremely seriously and perhaps looking at an overhaul.
Yes, that's right. So the government is acting proactively. There's no doubt about it. So there is no NEET-PG exam which will be held tomorrow. It was scheduled to be held tomorrow, so that has been postponed. Now what next? Does it mean that retest for all 24 lakh students, something which happened a few years ago, or will it be only retest, which was scheduled for tomorrow for 1,563 students of 4 specific states from where grace marks were given in those states, and those, from where there was some technical difficulties or anomalies which were reported. That is the big question that is before the government. What sources in the government are telling us is that expect another big order in an hour from now. So, the government is prepared. They are going on a complete overdrive now, trying to course correct, trying to really ensure that this entire lack of faith which the student community was displaying in the National Testing Agency, that it had failed as a body, it had failed as an organization, is restored. First, sacking of Subodh Kumar, who is 1997 batch IAS officer, someone who was seen as completely incapable of handling exams at this scale. And then the government going ahead and issuing that order that the NEET-PG exam of the retest, which was supposed to happen, 1,563 students tomorrow, has been postponed. So certainly, what next? Does it mean that the government will be going to the Supreme Court in couple of weeks from now, coming up with a full plan? They have taken action. Here, the action has been clear. The action has been loud and clear. Remember, the exam was to be held in 292 cities, and hence the government realizing that the only way forward is that there has to be course correction, and that's what they have done.